You know, I love it when somebody brings a UTV into the show because that means I don't need to sit in the security line to get into Motorhead Garage. We have this great looking UTV and a whole lot more coming up next. Stay tuned. Hey there, welcome to Motorhead Garage presented by Top Coat. Now this is the series where we show off all kinds of great aftermarket gear for your vehicle, whether it's going to make it go faster, perform better, last longer, or whether it's going to make it safer. And that's what you do at FFR Fabrications. Brandon, what kind of gear do you have that's going to make my UTV more safe?
Well, Dave, we build roll cages, we build tree kickers, bumpers. We offer all types of products for your off-road machine, whether it be Polaris, Razor, Kawasaki, or Honda.
Gotcha. And what sets your cages apart from the other cages that are out there?
We like to use DOM material on the main structure. We also try to do good fabrication, good copes, good notch, good welding, and we triangulate the cage and brace them really well.
We talked about good material, so let's take a look. This is what we'd have on a stock UTV. Now tell me about this pipe.
It's really thin from the factory, and it's only approximately 80 thousandths thick.
Gotcha, not too much protection there. Now if somebody wants to upgrade from that, what do they usually go to?
Well, Dave, they usually go to a better material, a thicker cage. That way when they roll one over, if a rock hits it, it don't fold and bend. We have two different types of material. This is electric weld here, which is 120 watt, which is very common amongst a lot of builders, but a lot of the higher end builders will go to a DOM material. A DOM material, rock welds harder. It's been through different processes. Even though it's a mild steel, rock welds greater than the electric weld, which gives it approximately 60% more strength than electric weld.
That's amazing. And another key to making a safe roll cage is how you put it together. And you brought a great visual aid to show us.
Well, if you look here, Dave, you can tell that this is not cleaned, and these copes are horrible on this. And a lot of times that'll happen in a cage if a builder builds something too short, not long enough, and instead of scrapping it, they'll try to use it, and then they'll go ahead and try to fill them gaps, which makes the material brittle. Now, here at FFR, if we find a piece that we don't like and don't fit, we will recut it, remake it, but we'll cope it to where it's coped greater and better, and the tubing is clean before the weld. As you can see here, how these copes grasp the material a lot greater than the bad copes.
And then that translates to welds looking much better.
Yes, these welds here, as you can tell, has had to have a lot of heat put to them just to fill that gap back and forth, multiple welds. It's not clean, it's not grasping the material properly, but here we have the good copes that's grasping, almost touching on each side, has a greater weld and a lot better looking weld, whether it be TIG'd or MIG'd, and as this is MIG'd because that's usually the standard anymore.
And you said it grabs about 30% more because of the correct coping there.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's the safety aspect of things, but something everybody needs on the UTV is a tree kicker. Then they can bounce off rocks and trees and all that stuff and just keep on going without damaging their buggy. Now, you have several different varieties. What'd you bring?
Well, we brought the tree kickers for the Honda Talon 1000R, the tree kickers for the Kawasaki KRX 1000, and the Polaris Pro XP that has just came out. We brought tree kickers for those, Dave.
Well, those are the stock tree kickers. Here's a look at a custom job on your fuel-addicted motorsports vehicle. Sam, tell me about this particular tree kicker.
Yeah, we had FFR do the tree kickers. He did the cage, the doors, bumpers, everything like that on this machine for us. He actually just got it done.
And there at Fuel Addicted Motorsports, you sell FFR's products. What else do you sell?
We sell wheels, tires, shock kits, suspension, audio, seats, you name it for one of these, we sell it. We can powder coat it to the customer's specifications, however they want it, if they don't want a factory color. We do installs, or we can ship you the product.
That's what I was going to ask. Do I need to bring the UTV to you, or can you send me the parts?
Either one. If you're close to us or want to bring it in, we can do it, install, or we can ship it straight to you, and you can do it yourself.
How do you select the vendors whose products you sell?
Pretty much anything that we know is proven will work. We don't sell junk. There's a lot of it out there, but if we will run it, we'll sell it.
Now, suspension especially can be tricky, so what if I want to make some changes to my vehicle, but I don't know how to do that? Are you going to be able to help me out?
Yes, a lot of these machines, the tender springs from the factory are not very good. They're the upper springs, they collapse almost immediately, so we sell a lot of those, but you can also go to a full spring kit where you do upper and bottom springs as well. You can do revalving, and we do all that at house.
And if I don't know what I need, how can you help me?
You just tell us how you want to go with it, and then we will be able to point you in the right direction.
And where can I find Fuel Addicted Motorsports?
FuelAddictedMotorsports.com.
Well, it's just that easy. Check them out. They've got all kinds of great stuff for your UTV. We've got all kinds of great stuff still to come here on Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, so do not go anywhere.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, is brought to you by Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. NH Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system. AAR Forged Wheels, custom-built wheels for dually trucks and show semis. And by Top Coat, the best coatings in the world.
This is Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat. Welcome back. If you are a Ford fan, then this segment is for you. And Stifflers Chassis and Suspension can help you out. Who needs Stifflers, Brian?
Anybody that has a 79 to 2014 Mustang needs some of our product. We specialize in chassis stiffening because everybody knows that the unibody is flexible, and the more rigid you can make your unibody, the better power you're going to get to the ground, the better handling, the better ride quality and all that. So we manufacture a variety of different items, subframe connectors, tire braces, etc., to help stiffen up the chassis to make the car perform better overall.
A lot of folks like to add power. They just think about that, but they often overlook the chassis. Do you find that that's usually the case?
That is the case 90% of the time plus, where, you know, the first thing everybody wants to do is put more power in their car, whether, you know, car, truck, whatever. But what they're not realizing is the more power that they're putting in, the worse they're actually deforming the unibody or frame in a truck's part. So the first thing that you need to do is stiffen up the car. Once you stiffen up the car, then your suspension's going to perform better, your steering's going to perform better, and you're actually using up more of the power that you already have in there. So instead of spending money on additional power adders, which you're not going to get the full benefit out of, stiffen up the car first, and then you'll get all that much more benefit from the power that you've added.
It's all about efficiency.
It is, absolutely.
Which brings us to the trucks. And I want to talk to you about a video that I've seen online. It is mind-blowing. Tell me what's going on there with that F-150.
Okay, so this was on a Gen 2 Lightning, and we wanted to do a video showing with and without the traction bars and what's really happening underneath there. As they always say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, so the video has to be worth 1,000,000 words. So we put this together, and what you're seeing is once you start to accelerate the vehicle, the rear leaf springs will want to start to deform because it's trying to hold the power that's being, you know, produced from the engine, and the rear tires will begin to hop, and that's causing lack of traction, obviously. So if you keep the rear end from pivoting as it is, you're going to get that traction directly to the ground, and you're going to reduce your 60-foot time in the event of like a drag racer.
Well, the fix is remarkably simple. It comes in the form of this kit, and let's bolt it on.
Okay, let's do that.
Well, your head fabricator, Mike, came along with you, and he said, let me do this. And we said, why not? You get your hands dirty, and you can do the hard work. But it's really not that hard. We didn't tell him. But there's only a couple holes to put in here, one on each side. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. One hole on each front bracket, and everything else uses existing holes in the frame.
Gotcha. And this is now where we used a step drill, but you don't need a step drill necessarily.
No, you could go straight to a 9/16 drill bit and drill the hole that way.
Now, the next step, this is really cool. You guys have these nut plates you've developed with the tabs on them, so you don't have to get your fingers inside there, and it's much easier to insert them inside the rail.
Absolutely. It doesn't take but a minute to go ahead and put the nut plate in there and hook up your bolts, and you're good to go.
Just 3 bolts there. You tighten them down and you torque them to spec, and you're ready to move to the rear. And that's where you have the spring retainer plate. We have to remove the one that came from the factory, and you've made a bracket that's just like factory.
Absolutely. You just take the factory plate off and put our bracket on in place of it using the factory U-bolts and nuts, and torque it up, and you're good.
Excellent. Yeah, run those bolts up. Make sure there's the same amount of threads on all the sides so it doesn't sit wonky and everything's balanced and ready to go. Torquing that to spec just like we did on the front. And then now it's time for the rod ends. And tell me about those rod ends you use. They're pretty cool.
The rod ends that we're using are actually made by RideTech. They're all American made. They're cast stainless steel. They're just a dynamite product, and we tend to use the best, and that's what we went with.
Everything you have is made in the USA, right?
Absolutely. Wouldn't do it any other way.
I love that. Then we'll put the front end of the rod in, and we adjust that so we can get the rear to fit on the bracket back there. How much of a trick is that to do?
It's really simple. You just put the front bolt in on the bracket, and swing the bar up, adjust the length of it by just rotating it until the rear bolt goes through, and you're good to tighten those up.
And then one last step on the rods, the jam nuts.
Yes, so at the very end, you want to go back and tighten up the jam nuts, and you've completed the installation, just that simple.
And just one final step from Mike here.
He's just going to torque up the rear bolt, and we'll be ready to go.
Excellent. It's one of the most simple performance upgrades you could ever put on your vehicle, and you can get one for yours at buystiflers.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by Top Coat right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
You are cruising along with Motorhead Garage presented by Top Coat. Well, here it is. All right, doesn't look like a whole lot sitting here on the table, but trust me, if you are a snowmobiler, this tiny little device is going to change your life. It is a throttle control, and if you ride a snowmobile, you know that throttle controls for years have been the traditional thumb control. And by the end of a long day on the trail, your thumb is tired. They call that throttle thumb, and we know you've experienced it, especially the first day of the season, or like I said, after a long day on the trail. Well, guess what? This is going to change that. This is the finger throttle from our friends at Munster, Canada. Now, of course, I mentioned the throttle thumb, and it's going to eliminate that problem, but the key benefit is this is going to give you better control and better bracing and support when you are on your snowmobile. Now, what do I mean? When you have your thumb control, of course, your thumb isn't able to wrap around the handlebars, so you're not able to hold on. So let's say you're going downhill, or you come over a drop, or you hit some fluffy snow, and your snow machine bogs down and slows down. It's going to push you forward. You won't be able to hold on if you're actually just holding on to the throttle. This way, your thumb is wrapped around the bars, and you're able to continue to use the throttle and get out of trouble right away. Now, better control is going to help you in the long run. Of course, it's going to keep you safer on the trails. It's going to make your ride more fun. It's all about better control. It's going to make your day more enjoyable. You'll be able to ride better. You're also not going to have that throttle thumb, no fatigue. And guess what? This is even heated. So it's going to keep your fingers warm while it's on the finger control. It plugs right into your OEM heater connectors. Keeps you warm all day long on the trail. It's got a slim design, so you're able to clear off snow, and it reduces icing, because that's the leading edge of your snowmobile as you're cruising down the trail. And there's a smaller chance of your throttle actually sticking in heavy snow conditions. There's an optional throttle guard you can put on the front as well that protects your throttle lever and your cable housing from trees and branches, and also from that ice and snow. It's available for most snowmobile makes and models, and it's machined and manufactured right in-house. Munster's been at it for almost a decade, and they don't just have the finger throttle, they've got a whole bunch of other things for your snowmobile. Kill switches, reverse switches, handlebars, and risers. Go to munstercanada.com to see what they can do for your snowmobile, see what they can do to make your life a lot more fun out on the trail. One of the things I love most about visiting New Hampshire Oil is to see how they innovate, how they're constantly evolving, and how they're always changing their products to keep their customers happy. And Joe, you're working here on the viscometer. What are you brewing?
We're actually checking the viscosity. It's part of our quality control program.
Excellent. And once you test that here and some other characteristics, how do you then test the durability or the longevity of your product?
So we're going to test for viscosity, we're going to test for sag and stability. Then we're going to put it into our B117 testing cabinet, which is recognized as worldwide standard for testing. That's going to actually apply a measured heated salt mist fog over the metal chips that we put in there, and we then can gauge the performance of our products against previous batches and competitors.
How important is it for you to keep moving, to keep innovating like this?
It's in my DNA. I mean, there's so much technology out there, and I'm always curious to see if we can utilize it to improve the product.
Of course, you have the lab here. You have a team of chemists that works for you as well. But you also have the biggest laboratory, maybe in the world, the entire New England region.
That's really the only test that counts. It's real world testing. How does it perform on your vehicle? And so, yes, we monitor the vehicles that come through here on a regular basis.
Well, you can see their products, you can see how they develop them, you can see what they can do for you at NHOilUndercoating.com. Here on Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, we love bringing you the classics. And we had the good fortune of going to the Bronco Super Celebration in Tennessee to see some really cool classic Broncos.
Well, I seen this Bronco the first time when it just came out of a barn after sitting in there for 26 years. It was all faded, had ugly aluminum running boards on it, and had 66 hubcaps on it, which I think are really ugly, but they're worth a lot of money. And my friend bought it, so I said, let me drive it. And he let me drive it, and I fell in love with it and had to have it. The only experience I had with Broncos previous to that is this same friend had a 66 we used to run in the river bottom, and we would show Jeeps where they couldn't go. Started out, I just drove it the first year just the way it was. It had big dents in this side where the tractor had backed into it, and it set out with the doors off, and I was redoing stuff, and finally I got it too nice for that, and now it sits in the garage all the time. For one, I got the paint for free. It's actually Sherwin-Williams tractor paint, and it's a really good durable paint. It holds up good, doesn't hold dirt. I'm kind of what you call a purist, so I tried to keep everything as stock as what I could. I don't go for the cut fenders, I don't go for the lift and all that. I just like what Ford made, and that's just the way I run it. It's like a family member. People come up and try to buy it, and I always tell them it's not for sale. You know, ridiculous price it would take to get it out of my hands. I've got a granddaughter I plan on passing it down to that I started taking to car shows when she was in her car seat. She's 12 now and 5'7", so she's gonna be driving it pretty soon.
Coming up right after this, we've got a great way to get under your car to do some inspecting or do some fixes. Plus, we've got an additive that you're going to want to drop in your engine. You're going to love it, and it's all coming up next on Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, is brought to you by Stage 8 Fasteners, home of the world's best locking header bolt. Locking kits now available for all turbo applications. Go to stage8.com. Fat Man Fabrication, the hot rod innovators. Munster Innovations, snowmobile parts and accessories. And by Tribotex, make your engine last longer.
I know what you're thinking. Every time you see an oil additive, you're wondering, is it safe for my car? And if you're like me, you're pretty apprehensive about putting anything into your vehicle. But Pasha, Tribotex is different from the others out there. How safe is it to use in your vehicle?
The more material you apply to your oil, the more at risk you are changing its properties: viscosity, thermal stability, oxidative states. But we use very small amount of carrier to deliver concentrated amount of particles that slowly leave the carrier and swim in the oil and gets applied to parts only where friction takes place. So you virtually at no risk of changing the oil specs that manufacturer demands for your vehicle.
And if you've got some damage to your vehicle already, how does Tribotex make it better? How does it bring it back and restore it?
The vibration that happens in the engine that when it wears out, caused by the gaps in the bearings and cylinder piston interface. When that vibration force attach Tribotex particles to the wall, they fuse and compensate for small amount of that play. Over time, that play decreases and parts get tighter. When play is eliminated, noise gets eliminated. No noise, no more buildup, and you have ideal interface that runs as manufacturer intended.
And so this is essentially going to extend the life of your vehicle that way.
Exactly. Extend the life and rejuvenate it back to how it came from the factory.
And we know it's safe to use in your vehicle. What about the environment when you drain your oil or if you have a leak or something like that?
Material is safe for environment, so even if you spill it or got it in your hands, wash them as you wash it from regular oil and you're fine.
Well, it's safe for your vehicle and it's safe for the environment, so it's a pretty incredible product. You can check them out at tribotex.com to see how it works and find out more information.
Time now for the Lowdown with Magic Creeper.
One of the great things about the Magic Creeper is you don't have to be a mechanic to use it. Yes, if you're using it for automotive stuff, you can use it as a fender cover. You're checking the fluids underneath the hood. You can also use it as a knee pad if you're working around the car, maybe changing tires or even washing the car. And of course, if you get stuck on the side of the road, the Magic Creeper becomes the Magic Creeper. That is where you can use it on gravel, you can use it over roots and trees and through mud. The Magic Creeper can go anywhere a traditional creeper will not. And there are no wheels on the Magic Creeper. That means every surface is perfect for the Magic Creeper, and it's comfortable. You can roll over tools, over gravel. Glass on the side of the road is no big deal because you've got the Magic Creeper protecting you. And for those of you who are not mechanics, well, we can use it for a conveyor belt, maybe in the back of the vehicle. You would secure this down once you were riding, but if you had something heavy in the back of your van or in the back of your truck, you just put it on the creeper, and when it's time to remove it, you can do it all by yourself. You just pull on it, it comes forward. The weight limit's over 300 pounds. You can do that all by yourself, or if you have a buddy, it's even easier. One of the other uses I love for the Magic Creeper, just around the house, my wife uses it when she's gardening, uses it as a kneeling pad, and a few weeks ago, this really happened. I was doing hardwood floors in one of our rooms, and I used it as a knee pad all day long. You can buy knee pads that you're gonna wear all day, but they make you sweaty, they chafe, and they're very irritating. The Magic Creeper, I could just push around the floor. I was up and down all day long, and my knees were very grateful for it. Magic Creeper is a family-owned business, and this is a perfect time to shop small and shop local. So be sure to go check them out on the web. Look for the original Magic Creeper.
Now, if you got a headlight out, that could be a do-it-yourself job. They're pretty easy to do. Now on this Malibu, super easy. I'm just gonna pop up these two clips here, which makes it real nice and easy. Once you get the clips popped up, you can just slide it right out. Now your car may have some bolts on here. You may have to reach behind the battery and grab the bulb, but either way, this one just popped up and came right out of there. Now over here on this side, I'm gonna go ahead and do this one and pop this one out. Now this one, pretty cool. Good to notice, it's a halogen headlight. Now that's pretty cool because it actually just unplugs and you replace the whole assembly right here. Now a trick for you, don't touch the halogen bulb. Either wear gloves or just do like I'm doing, plug it in, don't touch the bulb itself, then come back over here. You're gonna index it, put it in, and when you find the index, lock it, and then just replace it just how you took it out. Put it back in there, tuck it in, and lock your clips back down. Now the evolution of bulbs, these are the old incandescent bulbs. You just saw the halogen bulb, but this one's pretty cool. This is high intensity discharge, HID. You know those big white lights? That's the one that goes here. It's a giant arc tube right here. You get 600 volts of electricity, bam, sparks, light that thing up, you get those bright lights. So make sure you know what bulb you're using. Check your owner's manual, replace your headlight so you can see and be safe.
Well, that is going to do it for this episode of Motorhead Garage. We're going to be back next week, though, so don't you fret. In the meantime, go ahead and check out our Facebook page. You can drop us a note there and see what we're up to. And if you have something you'd like to see on our show, email jeff@masterstv.com. And oh, by the way, coming up in January, we've got the return of Tech Garage, starting January 2nd at 8 a.m. only on Motor Trend. Until next week, from our entire crew here at Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, we will see you. Take care and drive safely.